Good day. I'm Mandy Deval. I'm the editor of The Future by Design and the editor of openlycurious.co. And today I'm speaking to Cukia Sugar. Um, Tell me, Cukia Kimani, why do you call yourself Sugar? Sugar Burry on Twitter.
Well, it's kind of a funny story. When I first came to South Africa and I was playing basketball, someone asked me what my name was, and I was like, "It's Cukia," and they're like, "What, sugar?" And I was like, "No, Cukia." They're like, "Sorry, sugar," and I'm like, "It's fine. Just call me Sugar." And ever since that day, like I've just kind of rolled with it. I mean, it's a tough name to get a handle. So I just go with Sugar, and it's a lot faster for the process.
Now, Sukia, you are in game dev and you're a game aficionado and you adore games. How did that start out for you? Kind of, what is it about games? Um,
I don't,
environment, yeah, but when did you first, what are the first games that you started playing and kind of, how did you fall in love? And you call it video games. How did you
yeah.
fall in love with video games?
When my parents bought me my first PlayStation, I was around 7. I didn't even know what I think we had played a few arcade games, but when I got my first PlayStation, that's when I think I fell in love with games. And I like my first games I really enjoyed were games like Herc's Adventures, Baldur's Gate, like games with a lot of adventure and story in them. And from then I was just like, this is like a magical world. Like I really want to know, like, how do you do this? How do you make games? And that's definitely where it started.
Did you ever play a game called Heart of Darkness?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
It was epic. And unfortunately, things went kind of belly up because the people who made it invested so much money in that game. And then there was a massive dispute. Yeah. So I've got like major kind of heartbreak for Heart of Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
a lot of games seem to end up in such turmoil.
is what are your best games? I mean, what are the right now the games you're playing that are kind of epic?
Well, like my favorite game, like of all time, would have to be the Metal Gear series. It's a Japanese game.
Yes.
It's the new one is set to release sometime this year. But the game that I'm really enjoying playing at the moment, that what you would say is epic, is Destiny. I mean,
Ah,
yeah, like I only got the PS4 for that game, and yeah, so like I play that quite a bit from time to time.
why is everyone so upset that Red Bull, because Red Bull have kind of gotten involved with Destiny. There was some secret deal or whatever, and everyone's like all upset.
Red Bull and Destiny.
Yes.
I actually haven't heard that.
Okay, but you don't like to just play games, you develop games. How long have you been involved in game dev? Like when did you
About
start making the first game?
maybe 2 years now. Yeah, about 2 years now. Not that long.
Okay.
So yeah, so um, I've always wanted to make video games. Like I learned how to program just to make video games. And when I was at university, just before I graduated from computer science in 2013. Yeah, 2013, 14, 13. Yeah, 2013. I got this feeling that I really didn't want to work in a bank, and so that's when I really started to pursue and figure out how to make video games and get into the industry.
So what game dev software are you working with?
Well, right now I use the really good um, Unity.
Yes.
Unity is it's free. You can get it. It's a really easy tool to use to make games. So it's made. I mean, their slogan is to democratize gaming. So I mean, that's the engine that I currently use.
So I'm a writer. I'm not a coder. I come from a family of coders, but you know, my kind of code is Word. So
Yeah.
if I'm a complete and utter code peasant, like I am, would I be able to kind of download Unity and begin kind of cobbling together, you know, a game, kind of, you know, to build a game?
Yeah, I guess you could. I mean, with a lot of YouTube videos that are out there, like there's so many, you could, but they're much easier. There's a lot easier software that you can pick up. Things like Game Maker is a lot easier. It's more prone to 2D stuff, and it's a lot of drag and drop, and you can still write a bit of code in it, but you don't actually have to write any code to get it working.
Okay.
And another really good one is Construct 2. Construct 2 is like like web-based technologies thing. Yeah. Those two are really good for like really no coding experience needed.
Yeah. So tell me about the games that you've been making, and you with a company now that's called Soup with Bits. And I see kind of the games you have Alien Lobotomy and the Hat Trick. Tell me about kind of how you went about kind of conceptualizing those games, and more importantly, kind of how you sell those games and how the games are doing for you.
Uh, we started Soup with Bits with a friend of mine called Kevin. We started last year. Once it was mainly because of our one of the games you've just mentioned, Alien Lobotomy, and that actually came out of something called a game jam. A game jam's where you're given a theme and people from all over the world. It's this particular one was Ludum Dare. It's one of the biggest game jams there is. And you're given a theme, and in 48 hours you need to come out with a game. And we came up with Alien Lobotomy. And it's a math puzzle game. So the premise of the game is that you're trying to take over the world, and you do that by rewiring influential people's
Yes.
brains. And so the concept came out of that. And the theme of the game jam at the time was called Beneath the Surface. So we thought it was pretty clever that we were going beneath the surface in terms of like going inside someone's brain and rewiring it. And we started, like, I mean, the first game was sometime in May or March, I'm not too sure. And we've been working on it. We got the opportunity to show it at Rage as well last year, but we haven't released it yet. So we're still working on it. And it's, I mean, it was
Kind of what did you do there, and what is the game? You know, how do you play the game, and what did people think of the game when they were interacting with the game?
it was mixed. It's a very the game. I mean, like it was one of our first games we ever started making, and we've learned a lot making it. But one of the biggest things was trying to get people to learn how to play the game. So what you do is that you connect neurons together, and each neuron has a numeric value, and the way you connect them adds to your score. So if you connect them different ways, you get a different score. So trying to get that across as quickly as possible is one of the hardest parts of the game. And we're still like, that's one of the biggest issues we're having, is to teach the player how to learn the game. So during Rage, that's what we found, is that so that people who got it really enjoyed the concept and the puzzle, but the people who didn't get it kind of just tossed it aside.
So, Sukia, what does that taught you about making games, and how's that kind of changed the way you are making games now?
It's taught me to think a lot about the design of the game, especially from a player point of view. Is that you as a developer sit with your game a lot, and you start to play it so much that you think a lot of things are given. that someone will get to know it. But once you start like play testing things, which you should as early as possible, you start to learn that certain players don't get things as quickly as you thought, and sometimes you need to cut out certain features so that you teach them slowly throughout the game instead of hitting them with a lot of information early on.
Now, tell me, what's the most successful game you've created? You know, what game is kind of doing well for you?
Successful. I mean, like, well,
Money.
For money. Well,
Yes.
I'm not there yet. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't think I'm at the point of commercial success.
Okay.
But I'd say the most successful game was, I think, the game you had seen in Cape Town a while ago called Boxer.
Lovely.
So that was probably a really fun game to get to make, because that was all about making it as easy as possible for someone to get into the game. And from my experience in Cape Town, I'd say that's the most successful game I've had. I mean, people really like the game.
Yeah. It's a crazy, wonderful game. I mean,
Yeah.
those crazy arms, the boxing game. Explain it to us. It's a boxing game, yeah?
Yeah, it's a boxing game, and the whole idea behind the game was, what could I do with just analog sticks? Like no buttons, no triggers, just analog sticks. And then I started thinking about the idea of just boxing with with the analog sticks, where you get to move your arms as intuitively as possible with the analog sticks. And that's how Boxer came about. And so you play it literally top down, so facing down at the screen. And it was so easy for people to pick it up and play it, and for other people to show how to play the game, that the initial goal of making it as intuitive as possible seemed to come across very well.
Awesome game. Now let's talk briefly, because we have to talk about Minecraft, because because Minecraft has fueled a million dreams. Everybody wants to make the next Minecraft. What has Minecraft done to game development and game developers? It's the biggest deal ever, am I right?
I think so. I think it is.
It's just billions. Yeah, it's like it's like a thing, man.
I think Minecraft has gone to show that sandbox environments are really, like, people really enjoy sandbox environments where they're not necessarily being told what to do. They're given a bunch of tools and they get to create. And I think there's something in all of us that just likes to create. I mean, you can think of it like Lego pieces. Same way people love Lego. It's like they get that opportunity to create whatever they want and play the game the way they want to play it. So the fact that there's no direct goal for someone to follow and for other people to chase and be leaderboards, it's a much more free kind of game that people get to enjoy. I mean, sandbox has been there around. I mean, GTA is also another sandbox environment that people are really enjoying at the moment. But I think with Minecraft, it was the fact that it was so broad in what you could do, and it obviously was easier for little kids to pick up and play, so there was a bigger audience than, let's say, GTA.
The Swedes are doing interesting things in gaming. It seems like it's kind of an interesting way of looking at games there.
Yeah. I think that's where games are going. I mean, with the way tools are becoming a lot easier to create things, it's letting people who are not technologically, skilled in terms of programming, getting into games and getting to think about things a lot differently than what the AAA is offering.
Now, tell me about the indie game scene in South Africa. You know, how many people are making games, and what kind of games are they making? And are people making money in South Africa? And if you can talk about Kenya as well and what you know about Africa.
Games in Africa, I mean, South Africa is definitely leading in terms of games in Africa. There's a lot of people making games here. I mean, the scene in Cape Town is a lot bigger than it is in Joburg, with games like Broforce being made there. There's Desktop Dungeons. They won an IGF award. There was a game that was recently released on mobile called A Night in the Woods, made by another studio in Cape Town. There's a lot of games being made in South Africa, and
but why Cape Town? I mean, what kind of support are people in Cape Town getting that people in Joburg? I mean, why is Cape Town? I always try to understand why. Why is Cape Town doing so well with the game dev?
I think they're just the ones that are known. I mean, Joburg has a lot of studios, but I wouldn't say they're not making a lot of their own products. Like the ones in Cape Town, you know about them because they're making their own IP. But in Joburg, you still have several companies in Joburg that are creating things for clients and for overseas clients as well. And you just don't get to hear about them because they're not their own IP. But I think the climate in Cape Town is that you have those bigger studios that feed off a lot of the creativity that happens in Cape Town. It's a really artsy place.
Now, I believe that people are making money in the world of advertising.
Yeah. I think that's a very big. It's quite big at the moment because there's a lot of interactivity that you get in games that you don't get in any other type of advertisement. And a lot of studios in South Africa fund their own IPs doing contract work, which in turn is mostly ad games in South Africa and outside.
So that's really important in terms of stimulating the economy, the game dev economy, and keeping people alive until their game can launch or go on Steam or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, where do you sell your games? So what's the kind of big dream? Kind of where do you want to place your games? And what kind of monies are you looking at?
I'd say for me, personally with my games, it's mostly to reach as many people as possible. And with digital distribution, anyone can sell games and put them online. So you've mentioned Steam. Steam is a really big one, especially for the PC platforms. There's itch.io, which is a lot easier to do because you can personally just put it up today and then have people play the game. But I think I would love one day to be on consoles because those are always cool. But those it's much more stringent and harder to get the dev kits for. And mobile is also another good platform. But right now I feel like it's very saturated, and to get that big success that you want is a lot of hard work because there's like a sea of copycats and a new game comes out every day. And if you don't get that featured spot, then you're just hustling.
What advice do you have for people who are starting out with game dev and want to kind of make a career in game development?
I would say start making games like now. Like grab the tools that are online, like Game Maker, Construct 2, Unity. There's so many engines out there to start making games, and just start making it. And if you're in South Africa, you should check out makegamessa.com. It's a community of game developers in South Africa that help each other. It's a forum where you can post your games and get early feedback and get a lot of advice in where to go in game development. You can find jobs there. You can find people who are hiring. So I'd say start making games and post them on Make Games SA, and come to the meetups. The meetups happen every month, and there's one in Joburg and one in Cape Town.
Thank you, Cukia. It was lovely to
welcome.
talk to you, and thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Likewise.
Keep well. Bye.
Bye.